Hi everyone. Thank you for joining me in this now moment. It is Miracle. And I just wanted to vibe outside with you and talk about healing childhood trauma. And where do you start when it comes to healing maybe something that your mom's done to you, or something that your dad's done to you, or something that your grandfather or your grandmother, or an aunt, an uncle, a cousin? How do we begin to heal that? Where do we start? And what I found is that we begin by first forgiving ourselves. And you might be wondering, why are we starting with forgiving ourselves? Because what we may not understand is, by not talking about it, by not saying anything about the trauma, by not standing up for ourselves, maybe not having the opportunity to stand up for ourselves, essentially being riddled with fear. We have to forgive ourselves for the fear, for allowing the fear to control our movements as a child. And I'm saying forgive ourselves first, because you can't forgive someone else if you don't start by forgiving yourself first. Forgive yourself for anything up to this very now moment. Whenever you're coming to this video, forgive yourself for anything that you think you may have done wrong. Anything. Even if it was 5 seconds ago, as this video was playing. Forgive yourself. And remember that our minds are the greatest illusion artist. They're the greatest illusion artists. We are the greatest illusion artists, if you want to get down with it. And the reason I say that is we are the divine reflection of source energy incarnated. And so with that understanding, we're all divinity incarnate. You open yourself up to understanding that the bad begets the good, and the good begets the bad. As above, so below. As within, so without. So with that understanding, with understanding the four corners, you see that you have to forgive yourself internally, wholly, for any and everything that you think you may have done. Allow yourself to remember that bad things happen. But they're only bad if you perceive them as bad, and good things are only good if you perceive them as good. Both are experiences. And both, whether you perceive it as a lesson or a blessing, are blessings. They're guideposts. They're pointing us in the right direction. And so by forgiving ourselves, we're removing a layer of hardness, a shield, because if you don't forgive yourself, you can't forgive someone else. So you're always going to hold hatred or resentment within, right? So you forgive yourself, and then you then can begin to forgive others, because through forgiving yourself, you realize, right, that you simply in that moment made a decision that got you right where you are right now. And where you are right now is asking, how do I heal this? Where do I start? Well, you have to start, and you have to turn around and start here, now, from this point. Forgiving not only this self, but all the other selves that you've told that they did something wrong. Think about it. Our minds, they're beautiful, but they're also dangerous. So as we begin to awaken, we start to see things in a different light, and we start to realize things in a different way. And by allowing ourselves to maybe forgive and let go of what we think may have been bad or good, we allow ourselves to see that this is our story, and we're forming it for ourselves to continue forward to create more experiences. And so, you know, for me personally, just to open up and talk about some of my trauma, so you understand where I'm coming from with all of this, you know. I started being sexually abused, sexually molested when I was an infant. And I have memories of this. And I was molested and such for years, from infancy until I was... and it's really heavy for me, so just bear with me and the emotions that are going to arise in talking about this. Because it doesn't go away. That's what you have to understand, is you can't run from it. Because it's inside all the time. But from infancy to, I think about 9 or 10, maybe 11, ages are really hard for me because I was so fragmented, trying to protect myself as a child. But so from infancy, you know, I to about 9 or 10 years old, I was sexually molested by, you know, my grandfather, my mom's boyfriend's brother, my mom's boyfriend, one of my mom's friends, some cousins, some boys down the road, and I was raped when I was in the military, on my 20th birthday. So that's just sexual trauma, you know. My mom dealt with drugs and alcohol and her own trauma, her own sexual trauma, and that was reflected onto me too. You know, just not ever being able to speak up for myself, not ever having the ability to set boundaries, but also the understanding that I'm an adult at 10 or like 12 years old, and that, you know, I can think for myself. It was really interesting because she didn't hide anything from me, which was a blessing in disguise. Because at the time it created a lot of trauma, but what I see now is she didn't shelter me from the truth of reality, and that allowed me to see things in a different light. You know, my mom was a beautiful woman. She meant well, and her trauma is what kind of controlled her life. And it's through learning from her that I have been able to integrate a lot of information, a lot of this trauma, you know, and she's passed now. So a lot of my integration has been since she has passed away. She passed away on 11/11, 2019. And one of, you know, something I kick myself in the ass sometimes for is I was healing. I was going through some shit. And she messaged me because she was going through some shit, which makes sense, you know. She's my mom. Of course, we're both going through the same thing at the same time. We're direct reflections of one another. Instead of messaging her, I dealt with my own shit. And that's what I had to do in that moment. And that has taught me that sometimes you have to do what you have to do for yourself. And don't let yourself get in the way. Everything has a cause, effect, cause, and that creates emotions, that creates, again, guideposts, signposts for things in life. So if you come across a similar situation, because things are cyclical, you may come across something similar. It's going to elicit the same emotions, but what you have to then do is take a second within and see, is it still happening? And then move from there. In and through is something that I use all the time, but especially when I start to feel emotions, because I feel things very deeply. And through is something that has saved my life. You know, being able to see that, you know, emotions are temporary and they do pass. And if you can just sit there just long enough, you'll see that it goes away and your alert system kind of goes offline. I mean, and that's something to think about too. Like, think about your energetic system as, so in our root chakra, we have our instincts. We have our root programming. We have the programming that we've been instinctually using for however long. Well, this system has been programmed to be on alert 24/7. So we have all pistons firing all the time right now, go and go, 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 go. But it doesn't look like it because we're not feeling it. And that's kind of like when people say the veil is being lifted, a lot of the veil being lifted is like not being able to hide from your emotions. You can't hide from yourself anymore. That's what the veil being lifted is everything is being reflected back to you, directly back to you. So the energy that you are putting out is coming right back to you. There is no like filtering it. No, it's coming right back. So the veil being lifted is just approaching, like being faced with all of this energy, these emotions, everything that you're sending out is coming back. That's the veil being lifted. And that might be why, another reason why you're maybe you've been brought to this video is because you're trying to heal yourself and you might be feeling stuck. You don't know where to start, where to begin. And that's because most of the things that are out there to heal or treat severe trauma, complex PTSD, they're fashioned in the old way of thinking. So it's not targeting the root problem, because we've been programmed to be on alert. So most things, they want you to numb the sensations and kind of like, how do you put it? Fuck. Pardon my language. ADD just kicked in. Damn. I got caught up in how beautiful everything was sounding, and it just really brought me like even more into this now moment. But maybe because I'm recording this, someone's listening. Who knows? Maybe that's what that was. But anyway, it's like our root program has been firing on all cylinders for thousands of years, to keep us rooted in a fear-based thinking, and that's to help us grow. Really, literally, like it's a cycle of time. Like it just happens. There's no good or bad about it. It just is. And the sooner that we can kind of come to this understanding that like everything that has happened for a reason, so we can turn around and see what's been happening and do something different instead of getting lost in this, which is part of the healing process. And I want to say that, and I honor it. So like there's going to be like this muddledness that comes with it, but like, don't get caught in the emotional triggers, the emotional pulls to do things that don't align with your heart. So think about this. You're having a good day. Well, back that up. Your day 370 straight of feeling like shit, right? And you just can't get out of it. And you don't feel like it's going to end, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse, right? And then you're like, all right, well, the only thing I know to do is get some alcohol and smoke some weed. Party, have some fun, right? Go have some fun. Go out and drink, go out and have fun. So what do? You go out, you start drinking, smoke some weed, do some cocaine, maybe eat some mushrooms. Have fun, right? Live life. Don't stress it. But then you decide that you need to go home. And on your way home, after drinking, smoking weed, chewing mushrooms, you hit a small child in the neighborhood. But you don't know it because you're fucked up. So you get home and you go to sleep. And you wake up. And you keep living life. And you never know that you hit that small child, but that small child and everything that kid is associated with is gone. Because instead of sitting in your silence and sitting with what was bothering you and asking questions and doing the work and journaling and meditating and listening to music and dancing and cleaning your space, you chose to go out and get fucked up. And in turn, you made a decision unconsciously that's impacted someone forever. And that's where we sit right now, and why it's so important to heal trauma, because that's been happening too much. There have been too many people drunk driving, killing people, or just doing things not within their right mind. And I say right mind because I truly mean balanced mind, not within their balanced mind, right? And coming from that polarized place, coming from the right or the left, you know, however that may be, however that may display itself. So yeah, there's just something to think about, you know. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for joining me in this now moment and kind of just holding this space and sharing it with me. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to heal. I'm here to share space and hold space for any and everyone that's looking to heal those deep-seated traumas that, you know, are within this lifetime, but they are rippling throughout lifetimes, throughout eons. And it's loud, and it's time for us to turn around and heal that. And I found that from healing from this now moment, you transcend time altogether, and you heal both past and future timelines. And that's the Pleiadians for you. So yeah, I love you guys. Thank you. Infinite love, infinite light, and infinite movement, my friends. Namaste.